So, just to let you know.
Watch the replay.
No, don't watch the replay. I don't want to watch the replay. I don't want anybody to watch the replay. I need to get on there. I need to delete that because I just moved that into apparently public instead of the other one. I don't know. I'm a spaz. So, can you do me a favor? Can you give me my phone that I left in the other room? So, you put. I just said it's in the room. It's in the bedroom.
Sorry. I was leaving a comment.
I see that. Oh yeah, baby, I see you. That's good to know. Thank you very much.
Where in here?
I don't know, hun. Look around. Bathroom, bedroom, anywhere. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks a lot. So, hey, we've got a couple of people now. D'Angelo, Ian. Hello, everybody. If you're wondering where the first couple of minutes were, it was put on private. So I accidentally did not move it to public, so no one was watching that because except for me.
How do I get onto the live?
You are on. Well, I think you are on the live. If you're wondering who I'm talking to my wife who is off camera right now, and there she is. She was on camera for that split second. So now you know I am married. She did choose me.
No, you picked me, remember?
Well, it's all debatable.
Alright, why don't you find it on here so you can't find you. First live stream I was on, but it's
Hold on. You're making things difficult. All right, we've got a couple other people that just joined on. Bear with me, folks. I know this is like probably boring me watching me look at my phone. All right, you are live on this phone now, just to let you know. Okay, so let me get on my studio over here real quick. Oh, man. All right. We're going to leave it as is. Okay, so let's see who we got on here. Celestino, is that how you say your name? I hope I'm saying your name right. Hello. Fondian? How's it going? It's going pretty well. Thank you very much. Rob. Oh, thank you, Rob. I was just going to say, if you guys got any questions, go ahead and fire away because this live stream is going to be an Ask Me Anything. It's going to be a Q&A. It's going to be all that you want. So any questions that you want to ask me, whether it is HHN related, movie related, anything like that, feel free to go ahead and ask me. Put it into the live comment. I will go ahead and talk about it. First question goes to Rob. Wait a minute. Hold on. D'Angelo, I'm sorry. You put, what is your favorite house? We got to do things in order. What is your favorite house of all time? What are you most excited for this year? What is my favorite house of all time? That's really tough. I haven't really thought about it out of all the years that I've gone. The very first Halloween Horror Nights that I went to was Halloween Horror Nights number 9. So I have seen a lot of houses. And to put it into one particular one, I'm not quite sure. When you say favorite house of the year of all time, I'm assuming you mean as a guest, not as a scare actor. You can go ahead and write a new question and clarify if you want. Favorite house as a guest, though, that is tough. I was really impressed. I think the first house that I was really blown away with was American Werewolf in London, just because of the transformation scene. I wasn't expecting to walk around a scene and see that. There have been plenty of times that you've walked around a scene and seen other types of really epic moments, but I would say American Werewolf in London was the first one. The next question was, how's it going? It's going pretty good. Thank you very much. And then Rob, we've got what is the scariest paranormal experience you have ever personally had happen to you? That is an awesome question. Um, the very first, well, not the very first, no, the scariest that I remember happening. I had a friend of mine had apparently had some type of spirit ghost or something dwelling in his house, and I made fun of it and not knowing either. Uh, apparently I said his name. His name was Joey, and I was making jokes with a fictional character named Joey, and I had rashed out on my chest. No idea why I rashed out, but I rashed out, and it was the map of the world. It was the weirdest thing. I had a couple friends that seen it. You could literally see the whole map of the world on my chest. Um, and when that happened, my mom called my friend's house and said, "Hey, I need you home." And I asked why, because I was trying to figure out what this was. And she said, "I don't know. I just want you home." So that was mother's intuition right there. And I went home. So that would be my scariest paranormal experience because I physically rashed out. Something physically happened. It was kind of freaky. So I don't know. I don't think anything can top that. Though I do think that I saw a doppelganger of mine in a graveyard. And that was pretty freaky as well. It was very late at night. It was almost like an anti-shadow of me. Um, let's see. Kevin, morning, bro. Morning. Good to see you, Kevin. Kevin Allers. Um, did you go to school for film, makeup? Are you just one of those super gifted fellas? Wow. Well, I did not go to school for film. I did not go to school for makeup. I didn't do any of that. Where did those skills come from? The editing skills that I have, I went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, so I learned how to edit video and audio, things like that through that school. So I wouldn't say that I really went to school for film production or anything like that. It was a small little snip of overall broadcasting. So I did get a little bit, but I didn't go to school for film per se, like film appreciation, all that other stuff. When it comes to makeup, I've done makeup for a long time, like just putting on makeup, every Halloween, things like that. But I also was a manager for Party City. If you have no idea what Party City is a retail chain, probably the largest party good real retail chain in the world, at least in America. And I used to do makeup there. I used to apply makeup on the different employees that I had there. And every year that I worked for Party City, my house was the flagship store in my district for Halloween decorations, and we always sold out of the majority of our makeup. When I say the majority of our makeup, probably about 80% of the makeup, special effects, grease paint, all the other stuff that we did. So that was my probably my experience when it came to makeup. I did that for a couple of years, and it was a lot of fun. I used to do a couple of different rules when I worked when I managed Party City, such as we would there was a rule that the associates should be wearing some type of accessory or costume, something like that during the Halloween season. My addition to that was that if you could sell out of your costume, you would get to keep the costume and we wouldn't take it out of the system, damage it out. So you could get numerous costumes on that. So there were people that I remember there was this one girl, Jessica, she probably went away with like 4 different costumes because she kept on selling out of it. So it was very cool. Um, let's go back to the questions. I have to scroll up just a little bit here. So to answer that question, Kevin, I guess I am super gifted in those. Brett Butner, you have the best scare in Poltergeist. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It is a lot of fun. It is a enjoyable scare. Ian, okay, Puppet Master, are you going to let us know what you are operating? Yes, I am operating the giant clown head on there. So you will see. You can't miss me. I guess you could say I'm in your face. I'm right there. Um, so D'Angelo, there's my doggy. If you might have heard the dog in some other videos, at least shaking her collar or something like that, maybe growling. I have a pup. She's an older one, but she's still my pup, and she's a mix. She was a rescue. My wife rescued her before she rescued me. So I think, let's see, she is, I don't want to say her age. She's older than than most people realize. Um, let's see, Marco, you made it. What did you miss? You missed everything. We're about to wrap up. No, no, that's not kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That didn't happen. Jonathan, uh, Jonathan, I love you too. Jonathan, I work with. He is awesome, and has almost made me do a spit take a couple of times while working. Let's see. D'Angelo, what would you change about Horror Nights in general? That's a good question. What would I change? Um, man, what would I change in Horror Nights in general? I think the casting process would be a little bit different. I think it has to be expanded in a few times because, and they know this, but you get probably around 900 plus scare actors performers, and unfortunately, through the first 2 weeks or so, a lot of people drop. Now, this is not science based or anything, but I would say out of my previous years of experience, probably about 10%, maybe more, maybe less, depending on the roles, depending on the year, depending on who was cast. About 10% of the scare actors performers quit within the first couple of weeks due to it not being the job that they thought, it being a little bit more difficult, more laborious, intensive, maybe even injuries, things like that. So I would like to see them hire for more people, knowing that that's going to happen. And they have reserves, they have fire crew, they have a whole bunch of other people on there. They have a buffer system like that, but unfortunately, when you hard cast somebody for a particular role, they have a costume, they have all that other stuff. You need to find somebody in your fire crew reserve, try to hard cast them into that role because they fit the costume. Very difficult to do. So, Rob, besides HHN, are there any other haunted attractions you go to, and if so, what's your favorite? I really don't do the haunted events here in Florida. I wish I did, because normally I'm working this. So if I'm working this event, I don't really get a chance to go and see the other events out there. Um, when I lived in Pennsylvania, there were haunted hay rides, things like that, which hay rides are probably one of the best haunted attractions out there because it's an open environment and you have a certain vulnerability and things feel a lot more real when you are out in a field and everything. So I do like the haunted hay rides out there. I'd like to see something. I would love to see some type of like orange grove, that they like might change the word grove into grave and do a haunted attraction there. I think that would be pretty cool. And then people could be hiding in the orange groves, coming out and scaring people. It wouldn't be really a hayride thing unless you threw hay all around the orange grove. But a similar concept. It would be pretty cool. J Trip. Was are and still is the very first patron of the channel. So thank you very much, Jay, for joining here. Would you have preferred to be a face scare actor this year? I probably would. I like puppeting. I like being a puppeteer. I enjoy it. It's a whole different level of scares. It's a whole different type of experience. Um, I enjoy the face interaction because you physically see what your scare did. You see the reactions. You get to experience that a little bit more. As a puppeteer, you don't. Well, depending on the puppet that you're controlling, sometimes you can see people, sometimes you can't. My puppet is so massive, it blocks the majority of my vision. I mostly see people's legs, probably like the thigh down to below the shin. For the most part, I do have an area where I can look out to the side and I can see people coming in. So if it gets too quiet and if I'm not getting any scares, I know that the room is empty. There might have been a hold up somewhere in the line. So I readjust myself and I wait until I see somebody coming in. Otherwise, I start to time out my scare. I've gotten to the point now I can time how fast people are walking and everything. You do this over and over. You think about this. I scare in that area about once every 5 seconds. Um, it's actually probably one every 4 seconds. So that means that I scare 15 times every minute, and I do a 45-minute um, set. So that's what, like 650 scares. I'll just lower it down. I do about, let's just say I do about 600 scares a set. That's how many I do. So it's a lot. Um, Good question though. Brett, what is your favorite HHN treat? Favorite treat? You know, like the food that we. Oh, I have not had the pizza fries. Everybody talks about the pizza fries. I have not had them yet. I don't know if I will. Maybe I'll have to try and sneak out and buy some during one of the downtimes, one of my breaks. Um, the only HHN treats that I've really had is the alcohol. Um, and each year they'd have some, usually they have some type of fruit based rum drink mixture. They just call them different, uh, different names. So I know Liquid Fear, that was pretty good. I think that was, I don't know if that was the 20th one or not. The names, the names change, but it's always some type of fruit based rum drink, which I like. That if I'm going to have some type of alcoholic beverage, it's going to be in the what I like to call the Jimmy Buffett. So, um, Scott. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Scott says, "Am I buffering right now?" I don't know if that happened or not. Scott says, "Oh crap, I'm late. Sorry, Andrew. How's it going?" It's going pretty good, Scott. Thank you. We're not even 20 minutes into the stream. We're doing well. Um, so thank you for asking. I hope you're doing well. Type away and tell me if you're doing well. Marco says, "Give us an interesting rundown of what you will do to remake Fear the Walking Dead, since you won't finish reviewing the series." You know what? I said this in my original, I think it was the second review of Fear the Walking Dead. I came up with a brief, concept, and I'll reiterate it here with you, Marco. Um, the For those that have seen, there's a movie called Crash. It basically is a whole bunch of different stories that are intertwined with each other, and it's a good movie. It's a good way of storytelling. I would do Fear the Walking Dead something like that. I want to see characters that are in a hospital that people are coding out and they have no idea what's happening. There was the virus, people were getting sick, people are coding out, they're trying to find the cure, they're trying to figure out why people are getting this and they're dying. And then suddenly they start reanimating. It would be a really cool story of what would the nurses, what would the doctors, what would the orderlies, all the other people that work in the hospital, how would they react if people just started to code out and die, started coming back in the hospital? To see that story and to tie the paramedics and the ambulance drivers out there that are going around going trying to the first responders, let's say. And this, I would probably do this with all first responders, so people in fire, people, police, paramedics, all that stuff. see what their take is of the end of civilization. We basically got in that series another family. We already had a family story with the Grimes. Rick was trying to get back to his family. He was separated. And then with Fear of the Walking Dead, we had, was his name Travis? Was that the dad's name? He was trying to get his extended family back together. It was pretty much the same story, conceptually. So it was a little boring on that. I would like to see first responders, see what happens, how the police handled things, the chaos that's going on. They're trying to keep order, and I'd like to see their side of the story. Of course, people nowadays in 2018, uh, anybody, if you're in the government or if you're a police officer or anything, you're automatically the bad guy. So it probably wouldn't flow well for a TV. Well, unless you're like Chicago Fire and Chicago PD and everything. Everybody does like cop shows. They don't like cops for the most part, but that's because cops kind of tell you, what you can, what you can't do. They're the ones enforcing the law. No one likes that. So I would say that I would like to see, phone operators, uh, you know, power and light workers, things like that, trying to, what if the power went out in the city and they're trying to fix things, and maybe somebody died at the plant, and they're being attacked by zombies, but they're trying to get the power back up and running. What would it be like if you were working at a radio station or a news station, and you're trying to stay live and you're trying to broadcast to people what's going on. I would love to see all of those different stories put in Fear of the Walking Dead and have them intertwined. You can have them intertwined where people could be related to each other that are working different fields, or maybe like the first responder ambulance driver goes to the news station, to help out, or the police officers or their firefighters, whatever it might be. You could have gotten a whole different level, made it such a bigger feel, and really shown how civilization drops and falls and crashes in this world. But we didn't. We got another family trying to stay with each other, and it's been done. So that's how I would better Fear the Walking Dead. I think that that would be better in some way. I would hope that it would be better in some way. I mean, you tell me right now. You're watching right now. Go ahead, leave a comment. Tell me, is that a better story for Fear of the Walking Dead? Would you rather see something like that than what we've seen? Of you know family trying to get together again. You tell me. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me what you would want. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see what your thoughts on it. That's a good question, though. Thank you very much, Margo. I like that. So we got. Is it Fondin? I I don't know how to say that. I'm bad with names. Shelby. Shelby always wants rubs. Shelby needs rubs. Shelby loves rubs. So, okay. Yeah. Let's see. Ian, can you see and hear the guest victims as they move through the house? Absolutely. I'm lucky enough to be in a spot and back seated without speakers or anything around me. They're all in front of me. So I really don't need to have ear protection per se, because the loudest thing is people screaming. It's not the sound or anything like that. So yes, I can hear all the curses. I can hear all the screams. I can hear the whole "Andrew, we love you" comments as well, which I love. So thank you very much for screaming that out. And I've heard that almost every night. Somebody screaming out Andrew. Of course, some of the other clowns and some of the other puppets, puppeteers, some other people in the house have said, somebody called me Andrew. People that are no way near the shape of me, uh, uh, which it's like, yeah, I haven't been that thin since junior high. So definitely hear plenty of people. Brian Webb says, "Hey Andrew, love the channel. What is the one past icon besides Jack that you would bring back for another year?" Well, this is my 3,000 sub live stream. That I'm giving out to people. In the 2000 reward, I guess you'd say celebratory video, I did what would if I created an HHN, what would it look like? And this is what I would do. it's kind of breaking your question a little bit. Not one past icon. I would want two, and I would want the director and the usher to team up. I think that they're two icons that would work really well together, and I would want to do the event to be sequels. So all the houses, and whether they're original house or if they are an intellectual house, all those houses would be sequels in some way. I would just love to see them back. I think all of the icons besides Jack. I mean, Jack's been around, the longest. Jack is also the most popular, but I really enjoy caretaker. I really enjoy director, usher, everybody, a storyteller. Storyteller is probably not as physically threatening as anybody else, but she's still a really good character there. Horror Miser Monty G. Sup, Andrew? Just dropped to say hi. Thank you very much, Miser Monty G. Horror Miser, if you do not know, I have tagged him a couple of times in videos. He has tagged me in a couple of videos. Great channel. Make sure that you go and check him out. Uh, a fellow uh, um, horror channel. He reviews movies, reviews some TV shows. He's doing a review right now of The Purge episodes. So definitely check him out. He's also from Philadelphia, so that's another bonus. Yeah. As well. Thank you very much, Monty, for coming on to the stream. Brett says, how many years have you been a scare actor? Which has been your favorite role? I have been a scare actor since 2015. My favorite role, and I didn't do last year, so this was my third year. And my favorite role would be Herman Blitzkrieg of the Run, Blood, Sweat, and Fears house. It was my very first role, but it was I was up on a stage and I got to see every single person that came in the house. I was not in a boo hole. I wasn't hiding or anything like that. So it was a different type of scare. It was a steady scare on there. I enjoyed it a lot. I was able to get right up into people's faces if need be for certain scares. One of my one of one of my enjoyable scares. I wouldn't say it gets tough to say favorites, but a really enjoyable scare for Run, Blood, Sweat, and Fears is when I saw the people coming in the house or in our room. It's like a horseshoe. There was a blind guy that was in there. He was wearing sunglasses. And at first I was like, what are you wearing sunglasses for in a house? That makes no sense. And then I realized as he got around the corner, he had a cane and that he was blind and that he was with a person that was holding on to his arm. And so when he got to me, I snuck up a little bit behind him as he was going behind. And I just got behind his ear. And I said, I'm right behind you, which made him freak out, which was great. So nobody escapes my scares. Um, let's see. Miser. Hope we do see. Ooh, we had a little bit of a blip. Okay. All right. We had a blip. We're fine. We're back. We're good. All is good. Um, let's see. Scott, if you could choose where you were placed this year, where would you have gone? Scare zone or house? I don't know. I would have loved to play Dr. Loomis in Halloween, but I haven't gone through that house yet, and I don't know what the position for Dr. Loomis is. Granted, I'm kind of big to play a Donald Pleasance version of Dr. Loomis because I'm probably about 5 or 6 inches taller than what Donald Pleasance was. But that would have been cool to go from Leatherface to Dr. Loomis. That would have been a nice change. However, I will say this. The first week House of the Week award was given to our house for best scares and overall performance and stuff. So I'm really happy that I am in Poltergeist. It's an enjoyable house, and the cast is rock solid. Both cast A and B. I've it's very rarely do you get a chance to see casts blend so well in a house. Am I buffering again? I don't know. I don't know. I have this on the lowest setting so I don't buffer as much. Anyways, Would I be somewhere else? If I could probably choose, I'd probably want to do a scare zone just because I haven't done scare zone. So just for the experience. Um, there are a lot of people out there that want to be a scare in the scare zone just so they can get their picture taken and stuff. Which that is not being a scare actor. You're not there to scare. You're there to self promote. Then, and I know a lot about self promotion since I say it a lot in my videos. Um, Good question though, Scott. Thank you very much. Let's see. Norgan Warrior, hello. Hello, Norgan Warrior. For those that do not know, or name might sound a little familiar, that is because Norgan Warrior is one of the patrons of the channel as well. So his name pops up whenever I scroll them through. Scott, thank you very much for asking so many questions, Scott. I appreciate it. My haunt season starts tomorrow. They have me as a witch doctor. That is a cool, actually, type of character to play because people get creeped out by voodoo and stuff like that. In a Carnival Scare Zone this year, any tips, suggestions for my character? Absolutely. You are playing a witch doctor, so your character is intimidating just in the theme as it is. Make sure you're making eye contact. If you are, you say you're in a scare zone, so you're going to be out in the open. So give that presence. If you have like a skull makeup or anything like that, people are going to be looking at the makeup and your outfit. It's going to catch people's attention anyways. So lock in on a scare. Be intimidating. Size them up. You know, pretend that they're going to be the next victim. They might be the target for your next, you know, incantation or something like that. Um, if you have anything, if you have skulls or shrunken heads or anything like that, stick it out in their face, shake it a little bit. If you can, come up with some mumbo jumbo. Just come up with some different types of you know um, type of chant. If you for fun, if you want to joke with people, um, learn Chucky's chant that he does in the movies, and don't say "Give me the power, I beg of you," because then that will spoil. People will know what that is. But go ahead and maybe even do that. But you've got an intimidating type of character, so work with that. Work with the intimidation. Get into people. When you can do a scare and add a little creep to it, it holds on. People will move past you. They'll go on, and they'll remember that. And that's what you want to do. You want to, as a scare actor, you want to create memories. You want to make memories with people. You want people to leave the event and go, "You remember that guy? Man, he was freaky." It's great. It's when you can make memories with people like that. It's just awesome. So let's see. Kristen says fear. Maybe we start rewatching. Yes, thank you. And for anyone that's wondering, Kristen Davis, my wife, in there. Yeah, she's a big Jenna Elfman fan, and we went to the Walker Stalker convention, and we got to see Jenna on a panel, and we got to see Jenna a couple of different times, walking back and forth as well. See. So yeah, Jenna Elfman is a pretty cool person. Um, Ian watched Fear the Walking Dead series one. Actually enjoyed it. I'm sorry to hear that, Ian. Oh, Ian, what other shows are you watching? You like the first season of Fear the Walking Dead. I love you, Ian. And I hope to see you this year also during Halloween Horror Nights. Ian and his wife, Judy. I got a chance to see them last year. And hopefully I'll be able to see, maybe even get a house, and that'd be pretty cool. Garrett Kirby. Holy crap, I made it. I literally just woke up. Well, thank you very much, Garrett. If if Garrett's name sounds familiar, he is also one of the patrons as well. Big shout out to my patrons. Thank you very much for supporting and helping make the channel what it is. And good to have you here, Garrett. Larry Talbot. the one that just writes comments like none other. Thank you very much, Larry. Hey there, Andrew. Are you still going to join Fear after the break, or are you not going to bother? I would love to start that back up and start from season 4 and kind of give my reviews a soft reboot as well. But it's about time management. It's very tough to watch a series and then review the series because you're talking about watching on average, depending on the show, it could be 13 episodes, 26 episodes. So let's just say 13 episodes. You're spending at least 13 hours watching that, and I could probably do maybe 10 movie reviews with that type of clocking in time. Because not at most movies are about like an hour and a half, but or hour and 20 minutes, hour 15 minutes. Horror movies tend to be a little bit shorter. So I could get a lot of horror movies done and review those, or I could watch a series. And for the most part, anything that I watch twice because I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. I'll watch it and I'll write down my initial thoughts and stuff, and then I will rewatch it and I'll be a little bit more critical of the direction, the acting, special effects, all that other stuff. So the plan is to do Fear again. I do want to do Fear, but I think it's just a matter of, is that what the people want to see? I know a lot of people want to see me lose my cool and go nuts about whatever I'm watching. I got to say, it is enjoyable to watch me get more animated and just absolutely hate on something. So it might happen. Um Fondyne. Thank you. Fondyne. Okay. Now we know how to say that. Hopefully I don't mess it up again. If you could design one house for HHN original or IP, what would your dream house be? That is a great question, Rob. I actually was thinking about that as possibly being a reward goal for the patron page while I was working last night. So you asking that question has solidified that. Um, It'd be a little bit tough right now. I have a couple of ideas that I thought about, but I want to flesh that out a little bit more. But I think I'm going to be putting that in as a goal on the Patreon page. If you have not seen or gone to my Patreon page, let me pause for self promotion. You can go there. I don't have a card or anything that's going to be popping up right now. I might put that in later on in the replay. But you can go to the website. It's www.patreon.com. That's patreon.com/Andrew R. Davis. So you can go ahead and check out all the different tiers, and you can check out the different rewards that you get with those tiers. And you can check out the goals as well for people that are a different patron, different tiers. You get different rewards, but some of the goals are just blanket for all the patrons. So let's see. So yeah, I'll have to be continued on that one. I have a couple of cool IPs that I would want to do, and I've thought of one original property, but I've been working with IPs in my head last night. Ian, yes, definitely want to see a breakdown of society from the first responders' perspective. Thank you very much, Ian, for agreeing with me. Marco, absolutely agree. I would prefer to watch Fear the Walking Dead from that perspective. I finished listening to Fear the Walking Dead radio waves, and they were very, very interesting, even just as an audio drama. I didn't even know that existed. So that's cool. Garrett, do you have a favorite piece of horror literature, new or old? Lovecraft, Bram Stoker, Stephen King, Dean Koontz, whatever. There are a lot of good horror literature out there. I do enjoy some Stephen King. I make fun of Stephen King a little bit when it comes to um, his endings are not always the greatest. They seem sometimes anticlimactic, and that is because he builds, my personal feeling, he builds characters that are so believable that um, you bond with them. You understand where they're coming from. To think, like uh, he did Carrie, and to get the bullying of a girl and going through the puberty and all of that stuff. He did a really good job. That isn't like a first-hand experience that he did. Maybe bullying, but not like menstruating. I don't think Stephen King menstruates. If he does, well, that's a whole nother story. So I do enjoy Stephen King probably out of everybody that you put there. Bram Stoker's as Dracula. The thing that got me is the way that the book is written, like in diary form, just totally threw me off. Um, Lovecraft, I like some of Lovecraft. Dean Koontz, I never really got into to reading Dean Koontz's books. So I would say out of all those you put, Stephen King's probably uh, up there more than anything else. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, I do enjoy because there are certain subtexts in there in the story. It's pretty good. So if you have not read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, read that. The dog's growling. I think the neighbors are doing something out there. Garrett, do you have a favorite? Oh, I'm sorry, not Garrett. So thank you, Garrett. Michael, hey, Andrew, hope all is well. Heading to HHN the 20th of next month. And let me tell you, I cannot wait. I'm glad. I know you are going to enjoy it, Michael. This, I think, is safe to say one of the best years that HHN has done. Probably, HHN 25 was pretty good. And then you're talking like 16, 17, 18 around those. So I wasn't a big fan of some of the years in between. This year is great. Ian put another 50 cents in the meter. Yeah, that was probably because I buffed. Rob, my favorite, most horrifying, at the same time scare ever I did at a house I do for a community center. We actually scared a woman so bad she actually ran over her son on crutches and knocked him down. That is awesome. That is too cool. I have seen I've scared people where other people have trampled on a person before. There was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There was a guy who was bigger than me, taller wise, probably around maybe 6'6", 6'7". He was a tall drink of water. He screamed, fell over, face down, laid on the path as I scared him. All of his friends behind him, which were like 5 people, ran on top of him and screamed and just ran over him. So the next question is try to scroll this down. Next question from Michael. You are buffering. Yeah, I am. I don't know if there's nothing else I can do about that, unfortunately. I got this on the lowest setting, and for someone that has no experience in live streaming whatsoever, this is where I'm going. And I'm trying to operate through another stream capture and through YouTube because it's a little bit of a better quality picture, sort of, and it's an encoder, and I'm using my webcam. So if you're wondering, it might not be as clear as my normal videos. It's because I'm on a 720p webcam instead of a 1080 camera. Rob, to get out of the house, and it was the first scare of the house. She made it to the door, then right in the back door. That is the continuation of his mom running over, not his mom, but a mom running over her son on crutches, which I think is great. Garrett, if you could make one versus movie thing, Freddy versus Jason, with two horror icons of your choice, who would you put and pit it against each other? Wow, two horror icons and pit them against each other. That's a good question. I think that if you're going to do any kind of verses, they have to be similar in, I don't want to say strength, but kind of strength of mythos and everything. So, like, you couldn't have, um, you'd have to put somebody that is like a real person versus a real person. If somebody has superpowers of some sort, you couldn't do like Carrie versus Leatherface. because one, that would be weird. It would be kind of cool to say, okay, what if Carrie was in the role of Sally Hardesty? What would she do? The answer is she would mop the floor up with the Sawyers because she's too powerful. She would freak out, she get scared, and then she would beat the snot out of everybody. Um, so you would have to have somebody else that is on the same level, like same person, like can be hurt. Things like Ghostface from Scream is a real person and that has no superpowers. So you'd have to do that. I'd have to think about that. That's a great question. It's not something I can answer right away. So I'll have to think about it. Ian, would you like to be one of the actors that does a scare actor diner? Yes. So really interacting on a more personal level with guests. If if I was to audition again next year and I was asked what I would like to do, I would love to do the scare acting dining. I know that they have a couple of costumes there that always come back, and it's just different actors. Igor being one of them that interacted with Ian the previous year. Dr. Frankenstein is another one. Sam is one where you have to have a certain body shape and everything. I don't know if there's any characters out there that I could play that's an original character. Normally, they put original characters on there, and they don't usually put IPs. They're pushing Sam in Trick or Treat right now, but most of the original characters I don't fit, as in I'm just too big. So I don't know if they would actually cast me. I would love to do it though. I think it would be great. Um, let's see. Scroll down a little bit more. Um, Anytime you want to meet, Ian says, just let me know when and where. We will work on that. Lee Hall, welcome, Lee. Traveled to Florida from England on Monday. Loved all your shows, previews, the Halloween Horror Nights. Can't wait. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Lee. I appreciate that. I love when I see people that come from out of the country to see something like Halloween Horror Nights. It just goes to show how big the uh, the whole event is. How it it's not just a local thing. It's not even state or country based. People from all around the world come and visit. I think that's just a cool thing. Ian says, "Watched Happy Death Day. Really liked it." Yeah, I did a review. Let me pause for self promotion. I'm not really pointing at anything, but if I did a review for Happy Death Day, I would say out of it being a PG-13 slasher movie, it was impressive. And there's a sequel coming out, and it should be released in theaters next year. It's called Happy Death Day to You, and the cast from Happy Death Day is coming back. So, and if I remember correctly, I read a couple of um, articles on it saying that they are going to explain the time loops a little bit more in this upcoming movie. So I look forward to that. Uh, Judy also wants to watch Halloween 4 before we come out. I say that with everything. Every movie, if there's an IP that's at a Halloween Horror Nights event, you should watch the movie before coming into the house because you're going to appreciate what Universal Creative has done. Um, you're going to appreciate the sets a lot more because you'll feel like you're in the movie a lot more. They do a great job when it comes to the sets. Like I did the Trick or Treat house the other day, and that there are scenes where you are physically just walking through. You feel like you're walking through a movie set. They do a beautiful job. And Halloween 4, I enjoyed. Some people give Halloween 4 a little bit of uh, fluff on that. It was the the movie that really pushed me into the slasher genre, and which is my favorite subgenre of horror. Ian, what is your favorite scare zone this year? I get some cough medicine for your wife. um, let's see, my favorite scare zone this year. I really enjoy Killer Clowns because of what the scare actors are doing. They really are playing the characters really well. Uh, Vamp 85, I enjoy the stage performances that they're doing, and I enjoy the puppeteer and voice actor of Chucky. So I would say that those are the three highlights out of that. And if I had to judge between those three, I would edge out to Killer Clowns from Outer Space being more enjoyable. It might be a little bit biased because I really enjoyed that movie. Um, and I think that they do the movie justice. Also, that was the very first scare zone of the week. So where we won House of the Week, Killer Clowns won Scare Zone of the Week. So they're just doing a great job. Larry says, I would write a massive comment just to scare you. Oh, please don't, but thank you. Um, can you tell us anything about the animated show you mentioned you wanted to do in one of your previous videos? Yeah, I mentioned it before. Hold on just for one moment here. And I'm back. All right. I needed to get some tissues because I feel like I'm getting clogged up. Hold on. Everybody hold your ears. On a live stream. Oh, it's so gross. Oh, it's so gross. No, it's not. Ah, brother. Okay. Let's see about the animated show. Yeah, I have been working on characters, character designs, story plots, all that other stuff for this animated show for years. And when I say years, I mean well over 10 years, 10 plus years. It's been a long time that I've been wanting to put this together. It is superhero based, but it is uh, when I say adult themed, I don't mean like Bow Chicka Bow Bow adult themed. I mean it is adult humor, as in more crass, more crude, more innuendo type thing. Um, so I am a big fan of play on words and vaudeville type style of humor. There's a lot of that that I had in there. Um, and there's a lot of homage to older. Yeah, I do have to get my wife some cough medicine, I think. It's a lot of nods, homages to older comic books, to different types of things like even the 1960s Batman TV shows. There's nods to that as well. So I can't give away like character names or what I want to name the show or anything like that because things have not been tied up legally. I don't want to spoil out stuff and then somebody's like, "Hey, that's a great idea. We're going to go ahead and give our own twist to it." I don't want to ruin that, so I'm holding on to that baby a little bit more. So hopefully that whets your appetite a little bit to see what can be coming down the road. That is one of the goals on the Patreon page as well. I have it as a further goal, like a much further goal, because I want everything else to be established before I get there. Scott says, "Do you have a favorite memorable scare that you must have done to someone where they completely just lost it?" I have scared people so many different times. There's so many good scares. When you say people losing stuff, I had a woman lose her bowel movement. She lost bowel control. That was during the 25th anniversary. It was the first. That was team member night, if I remember correctly. Um, person screamed. She screamed and she grabbed her butt, and then she ran out. And then I was able to, yeah, I was able to experience what she experienced, but in a different way, in a third person. There are just so many different scares, though. I've had people pass out, fall down, uh, go to health services for hyperventilating, things like that. It just all good stuff, though. I mean, you don't want somebody to go to health services because they hurt themselves. And I've had people run away and run into things and hurt themselves in that. And of course, you don't want to wish that on anybody. It makes it kind of memorable. I had a I had a person that my one of my partner, my Blitzkrieg brother, Brandon, he started the scare. I finished the scare, and the woman, she was probably the one person that I broke character for that year because it was so bad. Um, she came into the room, and at that time we didn't have a third blitzkrieg brother, so they moved Brandon up to the catwalk instead of a boo hole where he normally was, and they blocked off that boo hole. So she came in, Brandon spotted her, and he did exactly the creep stare down that I talked about earlier in the stream. Pointed it out, just followed her all the way across, and made eye contact with her. Totally creeped her out. She got over to me, saw where I was, and of course I freaked her out, and I was like, egging her to come my way because she had to pass me, and she decided to run, which is very fitting since the house was called Run, but she was wearing flip flops and she had a blowout and she hit the wall. And the only way that I could say Wile E. Coyote would have done. Very memorable. She obviously, I think she was drinking so much she did not get hurt, um, but that is an assumption. I don't know. Let's see. Kevin, hey Andrew, had to get back to the grind. Congrats on the 3K. Looking forward to see what's next. Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate everybody that's coming to the stream. We've lost a couple of people. I understand the hour uh, that we're at in the middle of the day. Not everybody can do it, but this was the window that I could do. So maybe the next time that I do a live stream or something will be later on in the day after people are done working, or maybe on a weekend or something. I don't know, but this was the one window of time that I could do it. So thank you. And thank you for everybody that's here. Rob, are you going to upload this live stream? My internet is being stupid. I keep on missing a lot of it. Yes, when this is done, um, YouTube will archive it, and then I will go back and I will probably cut out the beginning of me trying to get everything fixed, and um, and then have that up. And maybe I'll put cards and stuff in the meantime. Uh, Let's see. Marco says, "Can we see your dog? My wife is curious." She's in the front room right now. She's I'll have to put like a picture of her or something, maybe up. Maybe I'll do that for the archive. Um, but she is a mix. She's a mix of a lot. She's lab, German Shepherd, Chow, golden retriever. She got a whole bunch of stuff going on. The family got around apparently, but she is a 65-pound pup. She's a bigger pup. She thinks she's a lap dog. She's not a lap dog. Well, she is. She's a lap dog on my lap. If she tries to get on my wife's lap, she's going to cover my wife. So let's see. Next question. So thank you, Marco. Garrett, would it be unwise for me to try scare acting if I have to be careful with my left arm? I have 3 different ports installed there. Have to watch it. I'm sure some guests get rowdy. Yeah, you most haunt industries have the they have a certain policy that you scare and then you retract back, and that's the safest way. That you come out, you do your scare, and you go back. There's the term boo and skidoo as well, such as, let's say you are playing somebody like Michael Myers. Okay, you have to portray Michael Myers, and you have to do the movement of Michael Myers, whichever movie that you're uh, portraying, though his mannerisms are pretty much the same in all of them. He's right-handed, so you have to brandish your weapon in your right hand. I'm left-handed, so I would want to do it in my left hand, but I'd have to, if I was playing him, I'd have to keep it in my right hand. The scare is always on the upswing, never on the downswing. People people get scared when you're brandishing a weapon and you pull back to use the weapon, because then there's the anticipation of when's it coming down. And by that time, you're already retracting back. So you've got to scare and pull back, and you come out and take a swing at them and then go back, because then you also come into the fact that they might be a fight instead of a fight or flight. And if you try to swing your weapon at them, they might try and block it. They might punch at you, something like that. If you've got ports or anything like that, no, you do not want to do that. The 3 different ports that you have installed, I don't know where they are, but if it's an area where repetitive motion would be an issue, so let's just say you have it near your heart and near your shoulder, if you're doing this, is that going to affect it? Because again, uh, the scare that I have a puppet that's in front of me and moving back and forth. So I'm using my arms. I'm keeping my arms up. So just try to keep your arms out for 45 minutes straight without dropping them. It's tough to do. Your arms get real heavy, but I've got a lot of emotion, a lot range of motion, not a motion, um, uh, here as well. So if you're stretching that area, if you're running your port or anything like that, it could cause a problem. So you'd have to make sure that you have the right thing. You say your left arm, so I'm not quite sure if that's down here in your bicep, your elbow area, or whatever it is. But arms, you're doing a lot of repetition, hundreds of repetitions in a set, and then you're doing 5 or 6 sets in there. Let's see. Marco, we can never get enough of animated Andrew. Thank you very much. Garrett, are the monthly Google Hangouts still going on? Yeah, they are. I've changed it where it's not a monthly. We're going to try and figure out due to scheduling. I was originally planning on this being a Patreon hangout, but when we started getting closer to around 3,000, I was like, well, we could make this a 3,000 event. So yes, that's still happening. Um, and let's see, David. David, I don't know how to say your last name here. David Abru, Abru. I hopefully I'm not annihilating that last name. Andrew, I just joined. I'm sorry, I'm at work. I don't apologize for that. I'm glad that you're at work. But I want to drop in, show my support. You're one of my favorite channels. Thank you very much, David. I appreciate that. I know there are a lot of different channels out there on YouTube, and there will continue to be more and more, whether it's this genre or another genre. Thank you very much for coming to the channel and supporting, and thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate it. You have a lot of different choices out there. So for subbing, liking, all that other stuff. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you, David. Let's see. Yeah, no, yeah. I'm probably gonna stay on until almost everybody's gone. Let's see. Marco, have you heard of the run for your lives marathon? They did it once in Illinois, and I personally enjoyed the experience. I'm not sure if they do it in Florida. No, I have not heard of that. The closest thing that I've heard, I mean, I'm assuming the Run for Your Lives is when uh, I guess the closest analogy would be Walking Dead had a Walking Dead experience where it was kind of like a marathon type thing, and then they had zombies in between areas, and they had um, like a fluorescent paint on their fingertips that you couldn't see. And if they were able to touch you, then it would show up on a UV light, and then you could find out if you survived the zombie apocalypse. I don't think that came to Florida. It'd be cool if it did. I don't think they've done anything like that in the Florida area, but I would love to see that. Norgan, once again, my 60-pound dog thinks that he's a small lap dog as well. They all do. They all do think that. Larry, do a-hole guests ever attack the scare actors? Yes. You'll have that. You'll have people have the fight or flight, and sometimes people choose fight. I will say this: if you are a guest and you are paying people to scare you, and you know that you will take a swing at them if they scare you, um, put your hands in your pockets, put your hands under your armpits, intertwine your fingers, something like that. Put them behind your back, whatever you need to do, because the scare actors are there to scare you, and that is it. They're not there to threaten you. They're not there to do anything else other than to make a fun, entertaining night for you. So there have been many times I have heard this year as well. You know, um, people kind of scoff. at the puppet. They'll mimic the sound effect because I have a laughing track that I play, on my prompt, and they'll mimic that as well. And it's like, well, you don't have to sound like you're a tough guy. I mean, this is not a rite of passage. It isn't like if you've come to Halloween Horror Nights and you didn't get scared that you are more of a man or anything like that. That's not it. It's a haunt attraction. Any haunt attraction you go to, you're supposed to get scared. You're supposed to enjoy it. You're supposed to enjoy the setting and the interaction with the scare actors. But there are some people that will attack. I don't think that a lot of people go out there um, with the sole purpose of, hey, if somebody scares me, I want to punch them. But there are people that do what is like a flare, like their arms come out and they scream. That's just a natural reaction. And if a scare actor gets hit on stuff like that, they kind of take it as a badge of honor that you've scared somebody so bad that physically they lost control. That they screamed. So yeah, it happens, but I wouldn't say that that's really an attack. Garrett, do you have a favorite iconic horror weapon? For me, it's a toss between Ash's chainsaw and Freddy's glove. That's good. Iconic weapons. I th- I used to say the chainsaw, but I feel that so many movies have used the chainsaw now, and they've done it in such a poor way that it's not as impactful. When Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out, you didn't see that. And when, spoilers, uh, Leatherface uses his chainsaw in a scene, my wife is still alive, don't worry. Um, we have a couple people that have said, please get cough medicine. You sound like you're dying.
I'm sorry.
Um, so, like I was saying, when Leatherface used his weapon, it was very impactful. Though he uses his hammer more than the chainsaw in the movie, uh, that is one of the reasons why the chainsaw was so impactful. And then of course, doing it on the target that he did is impactful. Um, in certain horror movies now, especially lower grade movies, especially anything from the 90s on, they're always using the chainsaw. And it loses the punch. So I think that Freddy's glove was very iconic for the fact that it was pretty original, though a good old fashioned kitchen butcher's knife is cool. Michael Myers rocks it, and Chucky rocks it pretty well. So I like those. Um, Gordon, am I late? No, you're never late, Gordon, unless I say thank you very much. Good night, everybody, and then yeah, that might be a little late. Brett, we do have a race called the Zombie 5K in Central Florida. I don't know how similar it is to the Run for Your Lives, though. Thank you. I'm going to have to look that up. The Zombie 5K. Uh, I'll, and actually I'll have to Google the Run for Your Lives to find out if that is actually there. Kyle Volkman, hey there. Well, hey there, hi there, ho there. Marco, I feel like every time I call out Marco, I should be screaming Polo. And it sounds very familiar. Run for Your Lives was also a 5K. Kyle says, are you going to be doing reviews rants on The Walking Dead's new season? I do plan on doing a review for this upcoming season for The Walking Dead. I would like to do an episodic review, though I don't know if every episode will actually deem a review like it will be worth doing it. I don't know. There have been a couple times that, especially this past season, that I'm like, I don't know. Did enough go on that I really need to recap and talk about anything? You know, especially from I think season 6 on, it some episodes just felt like you didn't need to talk about it. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I definitely will be doing a review for the season premiere though. So Gordon, hi from the UK. Uh, how is everything over at the UK, Gordon? And hello once again, Ian. Unfortunately, alcohol has to play a part with a lot of the a-hole guests. It's true, and unfortunately, also it's very hard to judge where people are um, on their drunken level when it comes to a haunted attraction. I'm not defending or anything like or speaking on behalf of any haunt attraction, but when you have so many people there and you have different booths all around uh, that sell alcohol, a guest can go to each separate booth and have it's the first time that bartender has seen them. Also, if there's let's say five and they down five drinks within an hour or so, they're going to get drunk, and as they burn off that alcohol. It's going to take a little bit of time. So they're going to stay drunk for a little bit. So that happens. And unfortunately, it happens more times than it should. David, I'm going to HHN on the 18th. Awesome. Very good. I'm super excited. I know that you're at Poltergeist House as a puppeteer. Is there anything else I can do whilst walking through the house to signal you or something? Yeah, yeah, you can. When you see me and I'm the giant clown head, you can scream Andrew, and I won't be able to react to you. Anybody that calls me out in any of the houses, I'm not allowed to break character, and I shouldn't be breaking character, because there's going to be people in front of you and behind you that have never seen anything. So you won't hear me say "Hey" or anything like that behind the puppet. I won't shake the puppet in any different way. It's going to stay in character, and that's what I'm paid for. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. But you will have the satisfaction knowing that I heard it. And I thank you in advance for that. Let's see, Gordon. I'll be getting an email soon from what I'm doing in the parks on Halloween. Good. Keep me updated on that. I'm glad that you're going to be scare acting. Garrett Leatherface to me is honestly one of the most frightening killers in the original film. He is much like Venus flytrap in human form. I will agree that Leatherface in the very first movie, Gunnar Hansen's version of Leatherface, is absolutely terrifying because there's nothing underneath the mask. You absolutely have no idea what is going on, what is happening in his mind, and in very much the way that the movie is like a reverse home invasion. How like the bad guys have the house, and so um, let's see. Marco, once again, can't remember if we covered the topic, but are you planning on playing the Jason game that came out a while back? Um, yes, I would like to play that. There was a whole bunch of games that I've wanted to play. Um, there is there's two Friday the 13th games that I have that I would like to play. I might do that after Peace Death. Last Peace Death, I think I will have up this weekend. So I'll have to start a new game. If you want to see me do any more games, leave a comment down. Put it in the chat. Tell me, yes, I want to see you do more games, or no, I don't want. I'd rather see you do a movie on the weekend. And if you do want to see me do games, go ahead and leave a comment. Tell me which game you'd like to see. Let's see. So again, because I think I buffed. If you like to see me do a game, leave a comment. If you don't want to see me do a game, leave a comment. If you do want to see me do a game, tell me what game. And Scott, at Haunt, we get a lot of young teens, even adults, who think they're funny, and of course, just go there to harass the monsters. They'll scream right in your ears, try and scare us. Yeah, you do get that. You get people that um, they are justifying their own insecurities, and they also think if I scare a scare actor, then that means that I'm scary. No, no, that doesn't. I mean, would you go to a play and try and out act somebody on stage? That makes no sense. Would you? go to a concert and bring your own instrument to outplay the band on stage? No. It doesn't make much sense when people do that. I understand why some people do it. Some people feel that they are the class clown and they have to make their friends laugh, and that is because they don't want to get scared in front of their friends and then have their friends tease them. So they're going to, in a very poor way, scream at the scare actor and try and scare them or something like that. Oh, you remember when I scared that guy? Oh, ha, 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 ha. No, it's kind of lame, but that normally happens to normally teens and I would like to say immature adults do that kind of stuff. Scott also says that some of them get physical. Sometimes security does nothing. What should I do? And have you been in that kind of situation? I have had one gentleman hit me in Halloween Horror Nights number 25, and that person was kicked out of the park. And I wrote an incident report, and security, the police, everybody was right on top of it. What it was I scared the girlfriend, and he was drunk, and he jumped up because I was on a stage and struck me. My feeling is you're going to strike a guy my size, you can strike one of the scare actors, especially one of the ladies that are much smaller and might not be able to take a hit like I do. Um, if somebody is going to strike a scare actor, they're going to do it again because they're going to feel emboldened to do it. Does that happen? You think about the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that show up. It's a very, very small percentage. It does not run rampant. So there's not like scare actors are getting attacked by people left and right, or any haunt attraction. And I'm not talking about Universal. I'm talking about any haunt attraction whatsoever. That does not happen a lot. But security and everybody should be on top of it. And if anything ever happens to a scare actor, they need to tell their coordinator, their stage manager, assistant stage manager, whoever it is, however your haunt is lined up, you have to have somebody that is coordinating the event. That person needs to know. So if you got to walk back a house, or if you're in a scare zone, you need to walk up to that person, give them a little nod, like, "Hey, this is the person," whatever it might be. Or you might have to lean in and describe. Always give a description of what they're wearing, preferably their shoes. People don't change their shoes. They might take off a sweater. They might change their shirt with a friend of theirs. They might take off a hat that they're wearing, so they don't get caught. People very rarely change their pants or their shoes. So make sure you get that. When Gordon says, "Would I rather be in a maze or roamers?" I would love to be part of the chainsaw roaming team. That would be a lot of fun. It's not something that I've done. I mean, I've done the live chainsaw as Leatherface, and I enjoyed that a lot. I'd like to go out there and be in a scare zone with one of the roamers. That would be fun because I haven't done a scare zone before. Larry says, "Would you like to see a Killer Clown from Outer Space sequel, or should they leave very well enough alone?" Um, I would be okay with. It's been enough time that they could do another sequel, like the Killer Clowns, which is an alien race, comes back to Earth again. You could do that. I wouldn't want to see them reboot it. I hate when people go, "Yeah, what classic would you reboot?" You don't reboot classics. You just don't. They're classics. They're timeless. I think Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a definitive, just a fun 1980s B movie horror comedy. And you leave it as is. It doesn't have to be redone. The sequel doesn't have to be darker or grittier or anything like that. It is good as it is, and you enjoy it for the timeline that it did. It's kind of like Jaws. You don't go back and say, "Hey, let's do Jaws again, but let's do it in this time frame. Let's do it in this decade." No, it's good as a '70s movie. It's good with '70s technology. It's a good story in that time frame. You don't need a reboot. So I would say the same thing with any kind of sequel or anything with Killer Clowns. It's a definitely has its own fan base. But the thing is, you're going to do a sequel. All of the clowns, spoilers, that were in the first movie shouldn't be in the second movie. They'd have to be new models, new types of clowns. So all the killer clown shirts and everybody that has your favorite clown, um, that clown shouldn't be in the sequel. Garrett says it's just a Friday the 13th game. It's fun. There's one called Dead by Daylight with Michael, Freddy, Leatherface, and Jigsaw, as well as a ton of other original killers. I have seen Dead by Daylight. I have not been totally impressed with that game from what I've seen, because as the killer, you're just putting people up on hooks. Um, there's not a lot of, I don't know gameplay that looks very repetitive, and just the different killers, whether it's Michael, Freddy, Leatherface, Jigsaw, whoever, it just seems repetitive. Like, why would Leatherface do the same thing as Freddy, do the same thing as Michael, do the same thing as Jigsaw with the victims? Putting them up and hooking them up or whatever. Everybody does the same thing. They should have different types of animations for the different types of killers. I think that would be better that way. Chatterbox reviews. Hello, Chatterbox. Welcome to the stream. Chatterbox is one of the patrons as of the channel as well, and also has their own channel. Make sure that you check out Chatterbox when you're done here. Chatterbox says, "Hey Andrew, great idea to do this live stream. Thanks for the upcoming thoughts, excuse me, on upcoming The Walking Dead season 9. What do you think is going to happen to Rick?" Um, from what I get out of it, Rick is going to die, and it's understandable that Andy Lincoln doesn't want to do it anymore. For somebody to be on a show for as long as he has as an actor and dedicated to one role, that's it's impressive and as itself. For somebody to play that same character so many years, when their job is to be an actor and to play many different roles and things, give some range, show what they can do. I mean, just you think about careers nowadays, in anything that you do. How many people that are watching right now have done the same job for 10 years? Not too many. And if they are, they tend to be an older a person, older generation, not the newer generation. If you can get to 5 years in any job, that's a big plus. So what do I think is going to happen to Rick? I would love for Rick to be injured and be transported off on the helicopter, and maybe going to Commonwealth or something, and then we just don't see him anymore. So it leaves Andy Lincoln a spot where he could come back, and the story is being continued to be told without Rick Grimes. I would love that, just because I love the character Rick Grimes. I love the actor Andy Lincoln, and um, I'd like to see that. However, with and it also leaves, you could probably take Judith along with him, so then you don't have to worry about Judith. Um, I think that if Rick dies, I don't know how that's going to affect Michonne, but since Lori's dead and Carl's dead, the Grimes family is just kind of dwindling out. And debatable, is Judith Shane's or Rick's. Um, I don't think that matters. I don't know where Judith goes from this story on. So, if, let's say, Rick gets injured, Maggie gets injured, and Rick and Maggie and Judith get on the helicopter and are taken to the Commonwealth and disappear for the rest of the season, I would be totally happy with that. I would be fine with that. It might seem like a cop out to some people, but I would be okay with that, because I enjoy the characters that much. Though I will say that, since Glenn has died, Maggie's character has not been given the props that she should have, especially what she's done and everything in the comic books. Uh, Good question, Chatterbox. Horror Digest, what's up? I'm doing pretty good, Horror Digest. Thank you very much for asking. How are you doing? Thank you for coming to the stream, and we've got more people than we had earlier. So thank you for everybody that has joined on. If you have not said hello yet into the live chat, make sure you type it in. I want to say hello to you. I want to know who's on here. I can't. I don't. I see the quantity of people, but I don't know who is watching unless you are putting something in the live chat. So, Gordon Farmer, I had that last year, and they soon got brought down a peg or two. I've been in that situation. So did a couple others. The worst ones are the ones that are stoned or drunk. Absolutely. When it comes to the interactions, especially physical altercations with people, usually they are under the influence of something. Usually. And if they're not, they're under the influence of stupidity. 555 says, hi. Hello, 555. 555 has been following me for a while and love seeing the in the comment section. So I'm glad to see you in the chat. Thank you very much for joining. And 555 asks, have you had any real experiences with the paranormal? That's funny because that was one of the first questions that was brought up on the live chat. And I will say I've had my fair share. I have had a plenty of real experiences with the paranormal. I love to say that ghost stories and things of the paranormal, a lot of people, when put in a group, if you had like 50 people and you said, hey, anybody got any ghost stories they want to share with people? Everybody would look at each other because no one wants to look like a loony. And no one, but if you were to pull each person individually and say, hey, you got any good ghost stories? Almost everybody's going to tell you. It's this weird type of, I don't know if I want to say stigma or not, but there's this a certain type of um, invisible cloak that is on people when it comes to paranormal stories. No one wants to seem crazy, but everybody has a story, and it's true. That is what I like to call a universal axiom, a universal truth, something that we all agree on, something that is true across the board. Doesn't matter what country you come from, what culture you're in, anything like that. Everybody's got that story. It's true. So yeah, I've got plenty of them, and maybe I'll do a video on those. I don't know. Scott says, "Have you had?" And thank you again, 555 for joining the chat. Scott says, "Have you ever had a chance your voice? Excuse me. Have you ever had to change your voice at all, or use a tone that was very harsh on your vocal cords? I have an evil deep laugh and a demonic voice. Both can do damage. I lost my voice for a night." Um, yes, I have. When I was Herman Blitzkrieg, I had to. Um, I don't like tea, but there is a herbal tea that's called throat coat that works wonders and helps with your vocal cords. It is in the local grocery stores here in Florida, Publix. I'm sure that they're in other grocery stores as well. Um, when you're changing my voice, I gave myself a really bad German accent during run, but I yelled at a lot of people because my show direction was originally be intimidating and scare people forward, and that was it. And then I asked show direction, can I do this, do this, do this? And I fleshed out the character more, built a little mythos, story, and everything. Told show direction. They wrote it down. They loved the ideas. We came up with a backstory for all the Blitzkrieg brothers. And then we used that. And so I did change my voice a little bit on that. I did lose my voice a little bit on that. And Universal has really taken that into consideration. Almost, I don't want to say all, but a very high percentage of the scare actors in houses have sound prompts, victims or whatever. And anything. If you have a victim that's screaming, "Help me!" like bloody murder, "Help me!" over and over and over, you can't do that for like 5 sets a night for 45 minutes each set and not have a voice. You're not going to have a voice by the end of the week. You might not have a voice by the end of the day. People don't work their vocal cords that much in a day. I mean, you got singers and band members and stuff like that that do use their vocal cords a lot. People that do public speaking, all that other stuff, um, but not to that level, not to that strain. So, excuse me. Sound prompts are used a lot more now. Scott says last year doing an evil clown laugh. How can I avoid this? This is adding that he lost his voice the night before in one night. How do you avoid it? Make it not as bad. You got to change your voice acting scares just like you would change your physical scares. Um, you're doing something that's repetitive physically, you could hurt again, if you're brandishing something with your left arm over and over and over, you should change it up to your right arm, unless you are working in intellectual property that show direction says you have to do it this way. And then if you're doing something too repetitive where you're getting sore, you have to get the show direction and get them the approval on where you have to change your scare. And you have to be honest with whoever's your show direction. Totally tell them, hey, listen, I'm getting a little sore. This is really repetitive. What can I do to change things up? If you're an original character or a character that you've created yourself, do whatever you want to do. Change it however you want. And the same thing with your voice. You might have an evil laugh, a deep, booming, evil laugh. But what if you giggled once? What if you growled, just oh, anything like that? I mean, you could do a couple of different things um, and change it up. So it's all up to you when it comes to the original property on there. Hold on for one moment here. I have to blow my nose again. Watch out. So the great thing about being on a webcam for this, I can go ahead and I can look. Yeah, it's clean. Um, let's see. Garrett comes back to me here and says, it is very repetitive, the idea of all the killers and survivors having been brought into the same realm by this Lovecraftian entity, and they hoax survivors. This is back on the Death by Daylight, for those that are wondering. They hook the survivors to sacrifice them to this being. You can kill the survivors. I'm buffing. You can kill the survivors, and we're back. You can kill the survivors with an item you can give your killer before each match. When you outright kill them, the killers have their own kill animations. That's good to know. Um, and yes, you did say the word kill way too much. But at least you got your point across. So thank you, Garrett. Yeah, thank you for telling me the backstory for Death by Daylight. That makes a little bit more sense, having them to an area to sacrifice later on. Um, but again, I think if you're going to have that many different intellectual property characters, you got to do something a little bit different. And I don't know if all those characters should be in the same game, anyways. You know, everybody's got their own realm and their own style of stuff. To put somebody like Freddy Krueger in the same game as Ghostface Killer from Scream, they got different styles. Freddy's supernatural. It's a whole different gameplay. It's a whole different. You would need a different game engine, everything. I think on that type of stuff. Larry says, "Do you prefer practical FX in horror movies or any other genre? Do you think CGI can still work if done well? If the CGI is done well, yes. Um, CGI can CGI can be used for things that you just can't do with practical effects. Believable. I mean, we've seen old movies where, let's say, a decapitation. We'll take spoilers. Friday the 13th, the first one, the decapitation at the end. The machete comes in this way. If you slow it down, you see that this part of the neck starts to separate. Why? Because it's a dummy head. But if you're going to take a machete and cut somebody's head off this way, it's not going to start to cut on the opposite side of the head. You can't get away with that doing practical effects. You have a dummy head on there, and that's how you're doing the motion. CG, you can do that. Um, so CG can help certain things, but when it's done bad, it distracts you so much and actually detracts you from the movie. It just takes you right out because you're like, ah. A good example of that is the Bye Bye Man. If you have not seen the Bye Bye Man review of me doing that, let me pause for self promotion. You can go ahead and check that one out. Uh, I hated that movie. For many reasons on there. The acting was bad. The story was bad. Uh, some of the direction wasn't really good either. But the special effects, there was CG special effects in there that was not needed. Like you just didn't need to see it. You know, the dog was one of them. It's like either you give me a puppet dog or you don't put the dog in at all. Why do I need to see this really? Like this was a movie that used CG that was probably, it looked like it was about 10, 15 years prior in CG. So it was really a distraction on there. And we're getting more people joining, I see now. So thank you very much for joining. And if you have not said hi yet into the live chat, say hi so I can say hi back to you. Um, and if you have any questions, this is an AMA. You can ask me anything that you want. You can Q&A stuff up left and right. That's what we're here for. And thank you very much for being a subscriber. Thank you very much for watching the channel as well. I could not do this stuff without you, and so I appreciate it. Now, Larry says, do you prefer? Oh, I'm sorry. That was your question, Larry. Do you prefer? And I should actually scroll this down a little bit. Gordon says, if I can move this a little bit. Gordon says, Andrew, are laser pens banned from HHN? Laser pens are banned from from Universal Studios altogether. They should not be in use. Security should pick up on that when going looking at the keychains. Does it happen 100%? I'm going to say no. I remember this was years ago, the Terminator 2 ride. We were in the queue setup where they're talking about what's going to happen on the show attraction. You had the lady that was standing uh, up on the stage. Little bit of trivia there. That character is tied to Dead Exposure, this year's Dead Exposure. It's I think she's the sister of the girl that's in this year's, like, you have to go back and if you go and you look at Universal's Twitter page and stuff, they put postcards up and everything. It's kind of cool with but they tie Dead Exposure's Patient Zero house to Terminator 2 with some other writing, the in 3D thing. Anyways, the point what I was saying was the lady that's up there that's talking, somebody in the audience had a laser pointer and shined it up around her, kind of like the Terminator is looking, to get somebody. They shut that ride down, shut the queue down, shut the show down, everything, and they found the person. And what was funny was the rest of the audience clapped when they shut everything down. You would think that people would have gotten upset that the show stopped before we got in, but the audience clapped. So laser pens, pointers, no, pointless. Don't do it. Why? So there's no reason why to have one unless you're a teacher and you need to point at something. So Kane Will says hi. Hello, Kane. Thank you very much for joining. 555, my apologies, made it late. How do you feel about Hellraiser as a franchise? Loved Hellraiser, the first movie. The second movie was okay, as most franchises do when you get continuing to go further and further. You lose your own mythos. You become your own worst enemy on that. I want to say Hellraiser, I don't know, it's Revelations, whatever one it is that revolves like around a video game is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It has almost nothing that in ties with the original Hellraiser series. Even there's a different actor that plays Pinhead, which I'm okay with. I mean, if you're going to have another actor and everything, that's fine. I don't think that he looked that great as Pinhead. He was a little bit of a bigger guy. I picture Pinhead to be very thin, very gaunt, very almost emaciated or emaciated. Excuse me. I was trying to use a big word to look impressive, but I didn't. Um, um, I would say, yeah, Hellraiser, good in the beginning, just started to fall apart. And Clive Barker's a good horror teller, a storyteller of sorts. Ian, would you like to see? Would like to see you do do a compilation video of funny and scary stories from other scare actors. The tough thing with that is to get people. One, to get other scare actors that want to be on a camera, because not every scare actor wants to be on somebody's YouTube channel for entirety. Um, Two, you have to find people to tell scary stories or funny stories that don't make fun of the um, guests, because if you do, then Universal or any other haunt doesn't want you to make fun of their customers. So that's tough there. And then you also have to make sure that you film it when you're not behind the scenes, because you cannot be filming anything back of house. So as much as, and a lot of people have requested it, um, probably the best thing that I would have is to get stories from people and then to tell it here. To get it where I find other scare actors that are willing to be on camera and to make them reword their story so it can be played. There's a little bit of production behind that, and I don't know if other um, scare actors would want to do that. I have to maybe maybe I can get some other people to give me some footage, of them talking and everything about it. I don't know. I'll have to see if I can get around that. It's a little bit harder to put together than what you might think. Gordon says, Andrew, what are breaks and security like during the event? For HHN, you're on 45 minutes, you're off 45 minutes. Security is top notch when it comes to um, people all around the place. I like to say you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a security officer at Universal, because they are all over the place. And that makes the scare actors and everybody else feel safe. I hope it makes the other guests feel safe as well. The Walking David. Hello, David. Glad that you joined us here. Thank you very much for joining. If you Let me get a drink here real quick. Excuse me. The Walking David. Uh, if you enjoy The Walking Dead, make sure you check out The Walking David's channel. He does lots of stuff Walking Dead, and does a pretty good Rick Grimes impersonation. So thank you very much, David, for showing up. He is You're out in California, so you're 3 years, 3 years, 3 hours behind. Ian, speaking of old movies, when are you doing a review of black and white classic horror movies? I'm working on that. I'm really trying to pace out uh, and basically I have to prep what movies I'm going to be talking about, and how I'm going to lay that out for the year. Movie reviews, especially because I'm trying to do a new production of how I do the reviews. Um, it's it's more time consuming than some of the other stuff that I do, um, but I want to do it right, and I do. I want to talk about the classic monsters. I want to talk about the different decades of horror. There's so many different things I want to talk about, and if I have probably about, and I might be lowballing it here, I probably have about 150 videos, concepts that I want to do, but I have not been able to stack anything that I could get ahead of the curve. So most of the recordings that you see, I am doing just a day or two before. So we're working on that one, Ian. But it's nice to see Garrett seconds that. Erase 8 episode 8, excuse me. Erase episode 8 says howdy. Hello. I'm going to call you EE8. Um, I've seen you in the comment section for a while. It's great to talk to you and to hear from you that way. Thank you very much for joining the live stream. Thank you for joining the live chat. Um, let's see. David says it is a dream of mine to own a nice house in Orlando one day. How is it living there? Besides weather and everything, what is it like? Um, it depends. It depends on what you're used to. What did you say?
Busy.
Yeah, busy. It is a transient city, meaning people come here and leave constantly. It is arguably one of the uh, maybe it is the entertainment capital of the world, arguably. Um,
United States.
okay, my wife's saying at least the United States, which is true. Um, I think that if you're okay with certain traffic in certain areas, you're going to be fine. Downtown Orlando can be a beast, but the surrounding areas, even if you live in the theme park areas, our house is um, pretty much almost like 20 minutes to everything. We really lucked out where we at, and traffic is not that bad, but the surrounding areas are getting built up more. There are more houses, more developments. So the traffic is getting busier. Um, so as long as you're okay with that, it's fine. There's plenty of stuff to do. You cannot be bored of like, wow, there's nothing to do in this town. There's always going to be something to do in this town. Um, so the cost of living, depending on the town, the city that you're in, um, it works. If you plan on being a theme park attendant and that's it, you're not going to really be able to own your own home and stuff like that. You need to be making more money on that. Um, so the cost of living is okay, but if you plan on working a theme park, you're probably going to rent an apartment, and that's going to be it. Um, Weather and everything else, it's all good. It's Florida. It rains in the afternoon and then cools off. So, X Danny TV. Hi, Andrew. Hello, X Danny TV. Good to see you join. Seen you in the comment sections before. Thank you very much for joining the live stream. Says, hi, Andrew. I got to ask you if you have gone through Halloween 4, what do you think? It's the best house. Oh, okay. It's the best house. Well, I might be biased. I think you are. But Poltergeist is one of my favorites this year. I have not gone into Halloween 4. I was planning on going into Halloween 4 last night, and here's a fun story. And I don't want to sound like I'm bashing anybody or anything bad. It happens. Um, I'm on cast day, and we get out before the end of the night, and I might have a small window to go and see a house, maybe two if I'm lucky, but at least a house. And I was planning on going to see a Halloween 4. Um, However, something happened to my tag out on Cast B, as in he did not show up at all for the last set. So when everybody got tagged out and left, I was still doing my set. So instead of doing a 45-minute set and being done, I did an hour and a half set. Um, So I did not do Halloween 4 last night. So I can't tell you where exactly uh, that falls yet because I haven't seen it. So I can't give you a review. Although I do enjoy the movie and I am looking forward to the house. So, but I've heard mixed reviews on that. I've heard that there might be too many Michaels. Like it might take away from the experience. And I get stuff like that. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there were a lot of leather faces, and that's because the the narrative, you want everybody to get some type of interaction with the main bad guy. So, but if you get too many, you might be like, hey, listen, why is he was right over here, now he's over here, now he's over there. You know, he's all over the place. So, and then that's the biggest thing that I've heard on a negative of Halloween 4. Otherwise, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Larry, thank you very much, Danny. Larry says, do you think someone should do a short movie of a day in the life of the mechanic from Halloween? Um, There is. Here's a fun thing, okay? Because I'm such a fanboy. There is a comic book. I think it's called Halloween Ghost, and it tells the story of the mechanic in the first movie. So if you can find that, Larry, check it out. It's actually a good story. You feel sorry for the life of the mechanic. He kind of has a little, and not because he's killed from Michael Myers, which we all knew from the first movie, but where his life is and what leads up to that spot. So if you can find that, it's pretty cool. And but it would be neat as a short movie as well, especially if they took that story and just converted it into a short film. Larry also says, "Do you think that he'll be mentioned in the new movie?" No, no one remembers the mechanic ever. Gordon, and I think the trailer, by the way, shows that he doesn't talk. They're not going to mention the mechanic. Nobody mentions the mechanic. No one ever remembers the mechanic. Terrible. So Gordon says, I'm willing to tell my stories from the Parks and Halloween event if you want them. Well, thank you very much, Gordon. I appreciate that. Erase Episode 8 says, do you think Fear the Walking Dead should end? The season has a terrible villain, a lot of throwaway episodes, one or two good characters, but watching it was like having back disc surgery. Wow, it was that bad, huh? I heard that the villain or the main antagonist of Fear the Walking Dead is not very strong. But I think Fear the Walking Dead is. I think they just need to find their groove, and that was why they did the soft reboot. They need to find something that's going to capture people. Honestly feel that the Walking Dead franchise is starting to um, get old for a lot of people. Both The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead is not retaining as many fans when it comes to the audience. And I can say, and I will ask my wife, who is off camera right now, Hun,
Yeah.
were there less people at this past Walker Stalker than previous years?
Yes.
That would be a yes if you did not hear her. There are. There's just less. There's less fans. There's less people that are dressing up in their cosplay outfits. There's just less all around. I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't really do a Walker Stalker review um, this year is because the footage and everything that I took, it seemed really empty. Though if you were like to go to the Orlando Sentinel's website and stuff like that, people that took still shots, it looked busier. It looked cool. It was kind of bare. It wasn't that impressive, especially for a major city like Orlando, where it has a huge convention center. So I do think that, yeah, I would say that uh, it's done. It's going to be done soon. Though I heard, and it should end. Um, I, I I heard that The Walking Dead was expanding for like another. I think it's 10 seasons. So um, I'm going to do this for like another maybe like 5 minutes or something like that. I'm going to wrap this up because we'll have done this for 2 hours. And so I'm going to try and answer off some of these really quick here. Garrett says, I know you mentioned once that it's very hard for you to get scared in haunts. Has there been a scare in particular that sticks out, one that has gotten you? The last scare that I had was in Halloween Horror Nights 20 that I physically got scared. And that was because I was in an area where there was no way that any scare actor was around me, and a speaker went off above my head and caught me off guard. So kind of scared me that way. And before that, I think was I think it was a house. I don't think it was Dracula Untold. It was it was there was a Dracula house where there were brides of Dracula or something, and there was a scare actor that literally ran right by me to go and scare somebody else, and her dress brushed up against me, and that scared me because I didn't think anybody was going to touch me. Not that they touched me, it was just that her dress brushed up against me and caught me off guard. So those were like the scares that have happened to me. I again, I don't scare easy, but when you get me, I'll admit it. Um, J Fog, Thank you, Jay. Jay's one of our patrons, and in true Jay form, he mentions that I ramble too much, basically, with a blah blah blah. And he also says, "Why is your face so red?" I'm just so happy to be here that I'm I, I'm holding my breath with anticipation that you would show up, Jay. Thank you very much. Why is your face so red? Jay and I used to work with each other.
Best question.
Yeah, and I miss you, Jay. And we have to get together. And I have something for you, something nice. I have something else for you, probably too, that I won't mention on the stream. We have to get together sometime. Um, thank you for bringing the essence of Jay. Um, 555, you mentioned you were going to do some short film projects. I am. That is the plan as time goes on, and as as more patrons join the channel and the pledges increase, I have a better chance of producing everything there. And I've been putting all that together. Right now, everything's in the creative process, but to get the production put together, the cost of the equipment and everything, time involved takes a little bit, and that's if anybody's wondering what the Patreon account is because I'm using the pledges and everything to support what's going on here and making better videos and hopefully then expanding it to shorts, short films, web series, and things like that. So, 55 asking, how's that going? And are you ever going to get around showing your parody material? There's a couple different parody materials that I want to do. And I'm hoping for that. Like I said, it really falls to people that are supporting the channel because that's what I'm using to put it all together. And also, I use the patrons to as a sounding board. They come up with different thoughts and ideas and help me create different things like Walker Wednesdays. Um, Gordon says, "What is your favorite score from any film?" Mine is "Tubular Bells" from Exorcist, which is an awesome song. It's really good. I like that. I like the original Saw's score and soundtrack as well. "Hello Zep" is a great song. It's got a good sense to it. Of course, John Carpenter does great scores with his movies. Most iconic would be the Halloween theme. Um, so there's a couple out there that I really enjoy. David, I know I'm commenting a lot, but I'm sorry. Don't need to do that. This live stream is awesome, by the way. Thank you very much, David. I wish your wife a full and expedient recovery. Look at that, hon. We were wishing you well. Um, would
Thank you.
she says thank you. Would you still want to see the HHN icons integrated into the Dark Universe? Yes, that was one of my videos that I did before, saying how they could bring and reinvigorate the Dark Universe and put the HHN icons in there. They've got decades of experience with these icons now. They could be doing that. As far as I know, the Dark Universe has been shut down. They're not doing anything with the Dark Universe right now. Be a great way to rebrand that. Noria Warrior says, kind of over The Walking Dead. A lot of people are. Ian, well, I've enjoyed this time to head home. Thank you very much, Ian. Make sure your wife gets something for that cough. All the best. I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much, Ian. And that's great. I'm glad that my wife has made first impressions that she is sickly. So, I mean, that is good to know.
I am sick. I am with you.
Yes, you chose me as a husband, so that tells you how sick she is to begin with. Um, Brett, you should do daily vlogs. I have thought about that. It is very challenging for me right now to figure out how I can do that. And I am incorporating more of a daily vlog, not daily, but weekly and things like that, behind the scenes stuff with the patrons. I'm going to be testing all that stuff out there and getting their feedbacks. Erase episode 8. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you very much, Erase episode 8, for coming. If they were to make an additional anthology series for The Walking Dead, where would you make it take place? Anywhere. It would not be in the United States. I would want to see another country, another place. It might be pretty cool if you took maybe, let's say, even Australia. Film productions are done pretty well in Australia, and Australia would be really good because it's a giant island. So what would it be like, separated from the rest of the world? Um, Garrett again is asking another one, or has another comment here. Had a great time hanging here with you. Thank you for the awesome content. This is an amazing channel. Thank you very much, Garrett. Thank you for the support for this live stream joining. Thank you for you being a patron as well. Jay. LMAO. Thank you, Jay. Marco, thanks for your time, Andrew. I really enjoyed. Thank you, Marco, for coming. Dominic, hey, how long will you live stream? I'm wrapping up now, Dominic. How was SeaWorld? Dominic is from Germany. He's one of the patrons over here. He has come to the States to go and see Halloween Horror Nights and stuff. He is at SeaWorld right now. I I was going to go and possibly see a house with him yesterday, but I had already told you what happened on the live stream. So thank you, Dominic, for jumping in here right at the end. Let's see here. Larry again saying congrats on your 3,000 plus subs. Andrew, I'm off to sculpt Brandon Lee as the Crow. What? Well, that's cool. Uh, keep the red face going. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. 555 was fun. Thank you very much. Gordon, scare you later. I will see you, Gordon. Thank you. Also mentions UK The Walking Dead. Yeah, that would be cool to see over there. Norgan, see you at HHN, Andrew. I will see you, buddy. Jay, hope to see more live streams, buddy. Do big things. Congrats on the 3,000. Hope all is well. It is. Thank you. Jay, miss you. Hope to see you soon. Gordon, scare you all laters. Goodbye, Gordon. Dominic, I am still in SeaWorld taking a short break. Well, I hope you're having fun at SeaWorld. It's one of my wife's favorite places to go. We're going to wrap this all up now. I don't want to take any more of you guys' time, and it's lunchtime, so I'm going to go and grab a bite to eat. Scott says, thanks, Andrew. A great live stream. Thank you very much. It's my first one. I know that we had a couple of buffering moments, but I think that happens regardless, no matter what the live stream is. I never would have thought that I would have had this many people. I still got plenty of people watching right now that would have been watching this all the way to the end. So thank you very much. Thanks for hanging with me this whole time. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your subs, your likes, your shares, all that other good stuff. I appreciate everything that you guys have done for the channel, and I am looking for the next milestone video. So I will see you guys soon with another, hopefully maybe doing another live stream, something like that. But in the meantime, I will be. Let me get through all these. I will make sure that I'll be putting out more videos soon. So thank you again for the live stream. Thank you very much for your support, and I will see you in the next video.